All right, last carving video, I promise. Of course, there'll be other videos, but this is the last carving video, I promise. All right, so you can see that I've, using my handy-dandy pocket knife, I have got this thing fairly well roughed out, right? So you can see that there are definitely some pretty good resemblances going on. Now, your piece is probably not going to be exactly like your maquette. It just probably isn't. But here's what I will say about that. You know, an artwork develops constantly until it's absolutely finished. And this one's not yet absolutely finished. So as things evolve, you hope they get better, right? You hope you make improvements that make the piece better. I don't know that that's the case here. I've got this thing rough carved with my knife. I still have quite a bit of work to do, but the work that I'm going to do is going to take place with a different tool. I'm no longer going to use the knife, but I'm going to use 100 grit sandpaper. Now, the amazing thing about this silly foam is that it's so carvable, it's so easy to abrade, that literally I can refine things just by rubbing them with my finger. But I want to be a little more aggressive than that. So I'm going to go with 100 grit sandpaper. 100 grit sandpaper. If you put 40 grit on this, you will dissolve it in a minute. You know, if you put 600 grit on this, you probably won't make very much progress. But 100 grit is a really good medium grit sandpaper. So all I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to refine. And I'm going to use the sandpaper to make those refinements. And this is a not in a hurry kind of thing. I'm going to work really slowly. I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to make this thing what I want. Now, one thing I'll tell you, you're going to run into seams where you glued the block together, and those are going to be hard. And as you sand them, you may notice that the foam abrades faster than the seam does. If that's the case, you'll just have to, you know, maybe when it's fully dried, just have to take a knife and maybe cut out that seam, and it's going to leave a little valley or a little gouge in there. Don't worry. The next step, when we put the plaster on top of this, we'll fill those in. But for now, I really want you to spend some time making this a pretty nice form. And again, you're just going to be using 100 grit sandpaper. Now, the sandpaper should remove all the marks that you left from the knife, right? And so after you're done sanding, it should be a perfect surface, and you shouldn't see any facets or any areas or marks that were left by the knife. And you know, you can sit in front of the television and do this and make your roommate hate you more than they already do, because you'll get this static stuff all over all your clothes, and you'll never be able to get it off until after you've graduated. But just take your time, go slow. Until you get the thing the way you want. Nice and smooth. These are organic pieces, right? Nice, fluid, smooth curves. I don't expect to see lumps and bumps and gouges and facets. You know, that's not part of the program. If you look closely, I don't know if you can see the piece I replaced that I cut out and I told you it was missing. It went back in. I glued that piece back in there. You can see it. I glued that piece in, and it has worked pretty well so far. So I should, I feel like I've dodged that bullet, right? I got away from it, or got away with it. Not how good you are, how good you can fix what you mess up. All right, so that's really all I have for the carving. Just take your time until it's perfect. And then the next phase of this, we're going to put the plaster compound on there. So that's a whole new phase and a whole new part of the process. So I will be back with some of those videos later. But right now, you're just trying to make this perfect, and you're trying to make it into what you want it to be. All right? So good luck with this. Work slowly. Take your time. Don't have a heart attack if something goes wrong. A lot of things can be fixed. You know, if I couldn't have fixed that big missing piece, with foam, I probably could have filled it with the plaster compound that we're going to use in a little while. So don't lose any sleep over this if you make a small error. One last little final tip that I would give you. I can't do it in my studio because of the way the light's setting up. But one thing that I would have you do is I would have you sit this in some kind of environment where you have a really powerful directional light coming at it. Turn off all the rest of the lights and just use that single light source. And if you'll do that, and then you'll slowly rotate it in the light, you'll see any flaws on the surface, and you'll really see if there's sort of extraneous lumps or bumps or facets that you don't want. You know, you can just slowly turn this in the light. And if you get that directional light source coming across it at an angle, it will really show up all the little things that you might want to think about changing and cleaning up. All right, so that's all I have for you with regard to carving. We are going to transition into the very final phase of this assignment, which involves applying the plaster compound and finishing that, and then you will be done. All right, good luck to you.